Is there a smell in professional sports more distinct and terrifying than the scent of a front office operating purely on panic and heartbreak? We need to have a very serious, very uncomfortable conversation right now, folks. Did the Philadelphia Phillies just mortgage their future and panic buy their way into a 3-year nightmare simply because they got left at the altar by a shortstop? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It is February 6th, 2026, and the city of Philadelphia is waking up with a collective hangover, not from celebration, but from the dizzying whiplash of a frantic off-season pivot. Today, we aren't just looking at a contract extension, we are dissecting a decision that reeks of desperation and threatens to anchor this franchise's payroll to a sinking ship for the foreseeable future. The ink is barely dry on J.T Realmuto's 3-year, $45 million extension, and the buyer's remorse should be setting in faster than a 98-mile-per-hour heater right down the middle. To understand the gravity of this mistake, we have to set the stage properly. The Phillies were all in on Bo Bichette. The money was there, the rumors were swirling, the jersey edits were all over social media, and the fan base was ready to embrace a new era of infield dominance. But then, the unthinkable happened. He didn't just leave, he chose the New York Mets. That sting is fresh. That wound is wide open. And what did the Phillies brass do immediately after watching their primary target sign with a hated division rival? They didn't take a breath. They didn't reassess the market. They pivoted hard and fast. They turned around and handed a 35-year-old catcher a bag of cash that defies every single metric of current market logic. This wasn't a calculated long-term strategy derived from months of scouting. This feels like the classic rebound relationship where you rush into a commitment just to feel secure, ignoring all the red flags waving violently in your face. The narrative coming out of the front office today is all about stability, legacy, and leadership. They will try to sell you on the idea that Realmuto is still the BCIB, the best catcher in baseball. But we have to ask, is he really? Or is that a title from 2021 that we are still paying a premium for in 2026? The reality is harsh, and it doesn't care about your feelings or your memories of the 2022 World Series run. We are looking at a deal that pays $15 million annually to a player who is entering his mid-30s at the single most physically demanding position on the diamond. This isn't just about money, it is about the opportunity cost. When you tie up that kind of capital in a declining asset immediately after a major free agency loss, you aren't just making a roster move. You are making a loud statement that you might not have had a plan B. And right now, that plan B looks expensive, aging, and potentially disastrous for the competitive window of this team. If you think I am being too cynical or too harsh on a franchise legend, let's strip away the emotion and look at the cold, hard data provided by the Shredder on MLB Network. For years, this algorithm has been the gold standard for unbiased player evaluation, stripping away the nostalgia, the jersey sales, and the name recognition to look at pure, unadulterated production. The verdict for the 2026 season is in, and it is absolutely damning for the Philadelphia front office's decision-making process. The top 10 catchers list includes names like Cal Raleigh, William Contreras, Will Smith, and rising stars like Drake Baldwin and Gabriel Moreno. Do you know whose name is conspicuously absent? J.T Realmuto. He didn't just miss the top 5, folks. He isn't even in the top 10. Yet, he is being paid like he is still the undisputed king of the mountain. Let's put this into a deep historical perspective because we have seen this horror movie before in Philadelphia, haven't we? This city has a painful, traumatic history of holding onto beloved icons just a little too long, paying for past performance rather than future value. Cast your minds back to the Ryan Howard extension years ago. That was a deal born out of loyalty, love, and a fear of losing a star, which ultimately handcuffed the team's ability to build around him as his body broke down and the game evolved past him. We are flirting with that exact same dangerous territory here, but the risk is arguably higher. Catchers age differently than first basemen or designated hitters. Their knees grind down to dust, their bat speed slows by fractions of a second that make all the difference, and their pop time, Once Realmuto's calling card inevitably ticks upward, the disparity in value here is staggering when you look at the market. Of the 10 catchers the Shredder ranks ahead of Realmuto, only one, Cal Raleigh, has an average annual value AV equal to or higher than JT's new deal. Raleigh is getting $17.5 million because he is in his absolute prime, hitting bombs and controlling the game with elite defense. Realmuto is getting $15 million AAV, which is more than William Contreras, more than Will Smith, and more than Sean Murphy. We are paying a premium luxury price for a sedan that already has 200,000 miles on the odometer. It is not just an overpay, it is a fundamental misreading of the market landscape. The Phillies are paying for the 2022 version of Realmuto in the year 2026. History tells us that catchers in their age 35 to age 38 seasons rarely, if ever, justify that kind of elite financial commitment. We are betting against biology, and biology remains undefeated. Now, let's dig into the mechanics of why this is a potential catastrophe for the roster construction and the salary cap management. This isn't a one-year prove-it deal. This isn't a 2-year bridge contract to mentor a young prospect. This is 3 years. 3 years. That means J.T Realmuto will be on the books through his age 38 season. Let that sink in for a moment. We are locking in $15 million against the luxury tax for a player who will be pushing 40 by the time this contract expires. In the modern MLB, where financial flexibility is king and the luxury tax thresholds act as a soft cap that punishes repeat offenders, this is the kind of contract that becomes an albatross. It limits what the team can do at the trade deadline when they need a reliever. It limits who they can pursue in the next free agency cycle when a premier outfielder becomes available. We have to talk about the zombie contract phenomenon. The Phillies are already intimately familiar with this pain. Look at the situations with Taijuan Walker and Nick Castellanos in recent years. Contracts that looked okay at signing but turned into unmovable objects that forced the manager to make impossible lineup decisions. Are we setting ourselves up for the exact same scenario in 2027 and 2028? Imagine a scenario where Realmuto's bat speed drops further, his framing metrics decline into the bottom percentile, and you have a young prospect blocked in Lehigh Valley. Or worse, you have to eat millions of dollars just to designate him for assignment because he can no longer play the field. That is the trajectory we are risking here. Furthermore, consider the defensive regression. Realmuto's value was always tied to his freakish athleticism, the Realmutometer, the stolen bases, the ability to throw out runners from his knees. As those physical tools erode, what is left? His pitch calling and intangibles are valuable, sure, but are they worth $15 million a year? Half the fan base is trying to rationalize this as paying for clubhouse culture, but the other half sees the writing on the wall. If the Phillies miss the playoffs by a game or two because they couldn't afford a high-leverage bullpen arm or a reliable bench bat because of this salary allocation, this contract will be pointed to as the smoking gun. It is a massive gamble on genetics. Betting that Realmuto is an anomaly who can defy the aging curve that has claimed nearly every legendary catcher before him, from Johnny Bench to Buster Posey. To wrap this up, we have to look at the brutal reality of the situation without the rose-colored glasses of nostalgia. The Phillies missed on Bo Bichette. That is a failure of the front office, and in their scramble to maintain the illusion of a championship window, they may have inadvertently slammed it shut on their own fingers. Paying J.T Realmuto $45 million over 3 years when he isn't even ranked as a top 10 catcher by the most respected analytical tools in the game is a mistake. It is a sentimental decision in a cutthroat business. It ignores the abundance of younger, cheaper, and frankly better catching talent currently dominating the league. We love J.T. for what he has done. He is a Phillies legend. But you don't pay for memories, you pay for wins. This deal feels like a bridge to nowhere. By the time we reach the final year of this contract, we could be looking at one of the worst value-for-money ratios in the entire National League. The front office needs to hope desperately hope that Realmuto can reinvent himself, perhaps transitioning to more time at first base or DH to save his legs. But even then, the bat has to play. If the offense continues to dip as it has shown signs of doing, this contract becomes an anchor that drags the whole ship down. It is a harsh assessment, but in a league where efficiency wins championships, the Phillies just chose inefficiency. They chose comfort over progress. I want to hear from you in the comments right now. This is the debate of the week, and I know the fan base is divided. Do you think J.T Realmuto has enough left in the tank to justify $15 million a year until he's 38? Or is this a panic move that we are going to regret by mid-July when the Mets are surging with Bichette? Are you happy they kept a leader, or are you furious they didn't spend that money on younger, more dynamic talent? Let it all out below. I read every single comment. Don't forget to smash that like button if you appreciate the honest, unfiltered analysis, and subscribe so you never miss an update on this roller coaster of a season. I'll see you in the next video.